Good morning, everyone. Welcome to White River Buddhist Temple for September 29th service. We're glad to have you here. Good to see some new faces, some visitors. So we will start with our sutra chanting, which you'll find in the purple service book, page 23. It's called Jusei-ge.
Goncho se gan he shi mujo do shi gan fu manso se fujo shoga ga o muroko fu idai se shu fu sai shou bengu se fujo shoga ga shi jo butsudo myo shou choji po ku kyo mi shomon se fujo shogak ryoku jin jonen joe shu bongyo shu mujo do isho tenin chi jin riki and I ko fusho musaido shoujo sankumyo kosai shuyakunan kai hi chi egen meshi kon mo an he sokusho akudo sudatsu zen shudan kozo jomanzo ioroji po nichigatsu jujuki tenko ankugen ishukai hozo koze kudoku ho jodai shuchu seppo shishiku kuyo isai butsu Usokushu toku hon Kanye shitsujoman Toku isangayo Nyobutsu mugechi Tsudatsu fusho Gangaku eri Toshi sai shoson Shiganya Namandabu. Kanishikudoku Byodo Seisai Dohonbo Daishi Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Will those of you who are able, that's fine. Will those of you who are able, please rise. We will read from the service book, The Three Treasures, you'll find on page 3. Or you may just listen if you wish, that's fine too. Three treasures. Fortunate is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Rare is it to encounter the teachings of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not seek the truth of the Dharma in this life, in what life shall we find it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken within us our highest aspiration. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the Dharma and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in a life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriad of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful teaching. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amidabhats, Namo Amidabhats, Namo Amidabhats, Namanda, Namanda. Please turn to page 79 in your purple book. We have a gatha or song, and it's called A Special Place. Thank you. You may be seated. Now we'll have a Dharma message from Minister's Assistant Ruth. Here?
Oh, yeah.
Wherever you like.
Hello. So please either put your hands together in gasho or bow your head in contemplation as I recite some of the words written by our founder, Shinran Shonin. Those who reach the pure land of happiness return to this evil world of 5 defilements. Where, like the Buddha Shakyamuni, they benefit sentient beings without limit. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Namam Dabutsu. Namam. Okay, thank you. So my name is Ruth Terry, and like Georgette said, I'm a minister's assistant here at Right Verb Buddhist Temple. And welcome, Northwest University students. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm sorry you're not getting a talk from a proper sensei and just a minister's assistant, but I'll do my best. So actually, I have to admit, I was a little worried about giving this talk on the topic that I had chosen because it seemed a little grim, because I was thinking to talk about grief. And so I asked Reverend Cindy, is this a little too grim or depressing? And like we're having these university students visit and they're young, maybe they want to hear about death and grieving. And Reverend Cindy said, well, that grief is something that touches everybody. It touches the old, it touches the young. And so she's like, it's a universal condition. It's a universal situation that everybody experiences. So she encouraged me to keep this particular topic. So again, I'd like to give a little talk about at least my Buddhist thoughts on the grieving process. So just to let you know about like how I came to this place, 2023 was a very rough year for me. I had lost, well, there's some prominent members of our temple that had passed away in that year or just recently, and in March I lost my good friend Bill Berry. In summer I lost my dog, my poodle Koban, and in December I lost my friend Don Gardner. And by the end of that year I was like, well, I don't want to lose anybody else. It felt like I spent a whole year grieving. But then I got to thinking about, well, grieving, of course, is difficult, it's painful, and it feels like work because it is kind of work. You're processing the loss of somebody you love. But I was thinking, how do I use the Buddhist teachings I have learned and integrate it with this experience, this process of grief? And so one thing I came up with was the Buddhist concept of the 3 marks of existence. And so to explain that, the 3 marks of existence isn't a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist thing. It's pretty much a universal Buddhistic idea. The 3 marks of existence is basically a truism within the Buddhist philosophy of how the world works or how the world is. And so those 3 marks of existence is impermanence, interconnectedness, and this next word, it's like, and there's not really a word, I think, that describes the third one, but it's usually translated as suffering, although I don't really like that term because life isn't always suffering, but I'll just use that because it's just a single word. So again, impermanence, interconnectedness, and suffering. So to go through them, impermanence, the idea of impermanence is that all things change. All things, all the time, change. And so I remember reading a long time ago when I was at university, I was reading a book about Zen parables, and there was a phrase that said, every hello is the first hello. Every goodbye is the last goodbye. Because in a way, from the first time we meet somebody to like the next day, we have experiences, our bodies physically change, so we're kind of different people. we're never the same exact person every time we greet somebody, right? And so, and it doesn't just apply to people, it applies to physical things, it applies to all living things. Everything changed all the time. And birth and death are yet two other changes that we go through. It's just yet another change. So that's impermanence. So the second mark of existence is interconnectedness. Now the Sanskrit term for this word is anatman, and from the kind of the early Hindu or Brahmanistic philosophy of life, an atman is, there's not really an English word that will sometimes it's translated into soul or ego, but an atman is the thing that survives you at death. Everything else falls away, and the atman survives. And so that leads to the idea of reincarnation, because if you're, you create karma such that you're a bad person, you're mean to people, your atman might be reborn in like in a grasshopper, your next life. Or if you're a pretty decent person, you'll be born again as a human. And if you're a really nice person, you might be born into a really nice family, a really wealthy family, in a stable, community, right? But in Buddhist philosophy denies the existence of an Atman because it denies the idea that anything is separate from anything else. There's not just a thing that exists and is inviolable and unchangeable forever. And along with that idea, it means that I interact with all parts of myself. I interact with everybody. Everybody interacts with me. So when I create an action, it's like dropping a pebble in a pond and the ripples go out. The idea is like everything I do can affect everything. Everything other people do affect me. And so there's no complete separation from any one thing to another. So that's interconnectedness. And the last concept, the Sanskrit word is dukkha, which means, if I remember correctly, it means kind of like an axle that's askew. So the translation suffering, I think, is a little overdone. It just means that life is difficult, and life's a bumpy road, and you can't expect happiness to last forever. There's always going to be difficulties along the road. And part of what creates that is our misunderstandings of the true previous marks of existence, the fact that we are interconnected, the fact that things are not permanent. So I thought, well, so when it comes to grief, I thought about the first one, impermanence and change. And as we see our loved ones perhaps grow old, get sick, and die, of course, when we're grieving somebody, we focus on them. We think about them a lot, and we think about the changes that they went through. And we think about the fact that they're not here anymore, which death is the biggest change of all from our perspective, right? They're not here anymore. So we're thinking about them, and we're thinking about their changes. And I thought, well, what about me? Did I change? I mean, my friend died, my loved one died, and had that big change. Well, what about me? Perhaps part of the grieving process can be thinking about, well, now that my loved one has gone through that change, what changes will I make? In what way can I think of my loved one and honor them and their experience and my relationship with them on a day-to-day basis? So perhaps I can think of my friend Bill, who was a very intelligent guy and a natural leader. So maybe, if I have a leadership opportunity come up, maybe I should think about Bill and do something I wouldn't ordinarily do, take up that position and think on Bill. And when I'm missing my dog, maybe I can think, well, how can I be that steadfast buddy to somebody? Because that's what he was to me. And maybe when I miss my friend Dawn, I'll spend another 10 minutes at the piano because he was an amazing musician and worked so hard at his craft his whole life. So, yeah, practice a little bit more and think on Dawn. So, I think maybe in a way, thinking about the changes in me, not just thinking of the changes in my loved one, but thinking, well, how can I integrate that change and change myself to become a better person? And that kind of goes back to the reading I just said. It was from a wasan, or I guess you could call it a poem, written by Shinran Shonin, our founder. And with the Pure Land, all Buddhists want to become a Buddha, right? And all Buddhist sects have a path or a way to help you get closer to becoming a Buddha yourself. And in Pure Land Buddhism, we recite the name of Amida Buddha, the Buddha of infinite compassion, infinite wisdom. And upon our death, we enter the Pure Land realm, and then we become enlightened. But that's not it. We're not just like, yay, we're in the Pure Land, we're enlightened. We come back. We return to this world as described in the Wasan as the evil world of 5 defilements. And they help us to reach enlightenment. They help us on the path. So maybe I can think of it as one way that they are helping me along the path, to think upon them and to think upon the changes I can make within myself for having known them, and walk that path with them, honoring them. And I think that might be a useful way of thinking of things, because it will help me understand the value of life, understand the value of these relationships, and understand that change can be a good thing. You know, change can help me become a better person. So if you can put your hands together in gasho or bow your head in contemplation, please, as I reread the words of Shinran Shonin. Those who reach the Pure Land of happiness return to this evil world of the 5 defilements, where, like the Buddha Shakyamuni, they benefit sentient beings without limit. Namam Dabuts. Namam Dabuts. Namam Dabuts. Namam Dabuts. Namam Dabuts. Okay, thank you for listening to my talk.
Thank you for your talk. Did very well. I know your early days for you, just like me, I had early days being chairperson, so you did just fine. You sit and relax. So if you're able, please rise. We will have a gatha or song. I hope. No? You don't want to? We can do it. We can do it a cappella. Otoku-san. You've been away too long. We're glad to have you here. This is Judy. For those of you who don't know, we are so grateful for the gift of live music. We have many talented musicians in our congregation, let us say, or our sangha. So, page 153, Otoku-san number 2. Because there is an Otoku-san number 1, which sounds completely different. Same words, totally different tune, total different key. Anyway, take it away. If you open your service books to page 8, Daily Krita Jodo Shinshu, please read along with me or just listen if you wish. Realizing enlightenment is assured and reciting the Nembutsu, I shall live my life cheerfully and positively. Understanding the oneness of life and cultivating self-reflection, I shall diligently attend to my life's task in gratitude. Recognizing the Dharma path, I shall help spread the teachings of the Buddha. Appreciating the Buddha Dharma, I shall respect and help others, working for the good of society. Namo Idabats, Namo Idabats, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Thank you. You may be seated. We say this in every service, and we like to introduce any first-time guests, and we have a whole slew of them here today. They are, as was mentioned before, they are from Northwest University. They're World Religion class. They've come to visit us today and experience what it's like to be in a Buddhist temple. We're glad to have you. We hope you find this interesting. And please don't worry that you've done anything wrong or right. We're not going to worry about that. Enjoy yourself. Please, if you have questions, ask those around you. We're glad to have your interest. So, now we will move on to announcements, and I think there'll probably be quite a few.
For those who haven't had a chance to see Dancing with Our Ancestors, the exhibit at the White River Valley Museum, a group of us are going to look at the exhibit this afternoon. We can carpool here, or you can just meet at the museum. The museum is not open till 12 o'clock, so anyway, you're all invited. Thank you.
Well, you'll probably see me for the next couple weeks. Just 3 weeks away from Bazaar, but we do have at least a tentative sign-up list that is on the back whiteboard. Go ahead and sign up for anything that you'd like to help with. From that, I'll construct a sign-up genius sign-up and then get that posted, so you can also contact your friends and relatives to get them signed up to help too. So anyway, if you have any questions, if you're chairing any of the food items or anything, we need to get your order lists in so that we can get working on procurement. So please get your orders into either to me or to Sharon or to Catherine.
Hello. Basically, just to follow up on what Charles just said about the bazaar, I'll be chairing the gift/craft sale. So if you have any items in your house that are lightly used, like gift-like items, I'll be available Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. So if you want to come by and bring them up, or on a weekend, like right after a service or before service, I'll be around. If you could just bring those by, and it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I have two things. The first one is the Northwest University students who we've given out our freebie bags to most of you. If you haven't got one, make sure you stop in the back there on your way out. And number two is that we are having our raffle. And I've noticed, I went through the envelope box out there, and some of you haven't picked up your raffle tickets to sell. So make sure you pick up your raffle tickets, because they won't sell if you don't have them. Thank you.
So if you have not picked up our weekly activities and information sheet, it's out in the hallway. So, or not the hallway, the lobby with there's a little table. So it lists all the things that are happening, information, dates and times. So it takes a lot of work to keep this temple going, so anything you can do to help us is greatly appreciated. So now we will close our service. We have closing words. I know we don't have a printed service program for you today. Many of us know the words, so just listen. My life is not only my life, but the life of others. Sacrifices, kindness, thoughtfulness, and patience. I am grateful. Namo Idabats, Namo Idabats, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Thank you. Service is ended. For those of you who wish, you may come up and do Oshoko or blessing. It doesn't obligate you in any way, and you can do it any way you want. If you want to watch some of the other people start doing it, you can do it their way. You can do it your way. There's no sanction about it. If you just want to also just come up and closer and get a look at the altar, you're welcome to do that. Thank you for attending. Be safe, and we'll see you next time.